So like 7tabs is a platform that enables you to create content really fast and to deliver it really fast and reach out to your learners where they are, since we provide lots of really flexible opportunities when it comes to content delivery. And probably the very first step, I won't dive much into the details, so feel free to ask some particular questions, or we can always catch up after this session. I'm happy to help you. I will just go through some, high-level ideas. In terms of 7tabs, first of all, you can always create something from scratch. It's super easy, and as our customers say, it takes about 10-15 minutes per content piece. That's how easy it is, because everything is pre-designed for you. Also, we have an AI builder, which actually helps you create content using a prompt, like let's say how to give feedback. And we hit the drop the course button. And AI builder, in fact, works as a productivity booster that helps you to come up with some content ideas, or probably just, if you are new to the platform, you can experiment how the content may look like. So as you can see, in a couple of seconds, it provided us with some content. You can remove any cards, you can add any content on top of it. And as you can see, 7tabs content is basically relies on the card type of content. For learners, it looks like Instagram stories or TikTok if you use videos. And here you can see some text-based cards, a quiz, a poll, a video. This video script is also automatically generated for you. But again, you can make any edits, you can align content to make sure it resonates with your communication needs. I personally use AI Builder, to overcome that writer's block, because sometimes I rewrite it 100%, but it still is faster rather than I start from scratch, from the very beginning, because I really hate blank canvas. And in terms of content you can use within 7tabs, it is all pre-designed. So we have text-based cards. You can spice them up with some images, with some GIFs, with some custom images. We have a few libraries available here at 7tabs. You can benefit from them. GIFs is a great way to enhance your message. And when it comes to corporate communications, I see that HR departments use it very favorably, I would say, because you can use some GIFs from series, from movies, from something that's going on in the world, and thus it really helps to build some strong emotional connection to the content you provide, so that it doesn't look like just another boring type of PowerPoint style content. Then we have quizzes available. You can add options. You can provide some multiple correct answers, variants. And again, it comes from the learning and development, kind of a learning science and learning and development field, but it's also very important when it comes to communications, because communication process should be always kind of a two-way process, right? So engage your employees, engage your colleagues into some sharing ideas process. Try to make them think about the content you provide them, not only deliver some message that they should take as it is, but you can actually make them think about their own ideas and their own perceptions, and thus you actually influence them to come up with some conclusions you'd like them to come up with. Audio components. You can either upload your own pre-recorded message. It works really great when it comes to some voice message from CEO or a manager, or I don't know, some person who is kind of the leader of a process, and they would love to share to the team, to the organization, why this piece of content exists, what kind of message you'd love to deliver. It, establishes some very personal contact, and I see that companies really benefit from this option. But if you don't have any people who are willing to record their voices, in fact, you can, while I was taking my smartphone, in fact, you can record your voice via your smartphone and then simply upload this file to 7tabs. But since we are focused on micro learning, on quick style of getting information, your audio file should not exceed 1 minute duration. Recently, we've introduced great text-to-speech functionality, which actually helps you to type or paste in your script, and then it converts this text into voice message. It sounds like a real human. I won't just, because I'm not sure about my internet connection, I won't play around with it. But feel free to do that, and I bet you will be really surprised by how realistic it sounds. Yep.
Your camera is freezing up again a bit, so maybe you should just switch it up and on.
Absolutely. Happy to. Give me a second, please. Is it all right now?
Yes.
Great. So another card option is...
I think it's just the way it is. Sorry.
Probably I should switch it off just for the sake of, better internet connection, since I'm sharing the screen. Some problems come up. So getting back to the 7tabs, video-based cards, you can, again, either use your own videos or you can create AI videos when you actually convert text to video, and it will be, so it will look actually like this card, a person pronouncing your text. We also have an option to insert a kind of a button so that you can, for example, introduce some upcoming events, or you can direct your people to some resources somewhere in your corporate library, or you name it. Actually, I see so many options here. For example, if you are announcing some competition or voting process or any changes that are coming, and there are some policy written, some extended versions of the content that people who are really interested in learning more can dive into it. So with 7tabs, you kind of set some expectations and you help people understand what's coming next. And this card actually helps you to direct the attention to something bigger. And everything in 7tabs is designed in a way that actually helps you direct your people attention in a way that do not make them feel overwhelmed. And we intentionally don't use any redundant interactivity, because in most cases, when it comes to quick and snackable experiences, when you go too much into interactivity, it works as a speed bump, and it does not provide you with that immediate effect and immediate response. So that we kind of design 7tabs in a way that helps you get your message out in the fastest way possible. Also, we have a form-based card so that you can gather feedback or responses. And I also see a huge value in it because, again, when it comes to interacting with your people, it's always should be the way you get some response from them. And while I started speaking about that, a great example came up to me. 7tabs is widely used to address some diversity, equity, and inclusion content within organizations. And I know that we have a client that addresses the problem of violence and harassment within the workplace environment. And when we discussed actually the way they see 7TAP's value in it, they shared that it helps them to openly communicate with people who might be either victims or aggressors. And throughout some anonymous 7TAP's content, they are more able to share their experiences rather than, you know, when you get the people together in a room and they may not feel that comfortable to share what they really think about the subject. And also polls are available so that you can experiment with content and kind of allowing your people to send out their voices, and in fact you actually stimulate them to be more engaged in the solutions you will provide afterwards, like what kind of initiatives you would love us to come up with next here at HR department, and you provide them with options, people vote for them, and thus it helps them to understand that it was their vote, even despite the fact that some options were already provided. And for you as a content creator, as a communicator, or probably HR leader, you understand that all the options are kind of somewhere on your roadmap, but thus you actually let people invest into what's coming, and thus set kind of the ground for better further engagement. And probably when it comes to content creation and the process of using 7TAPs for internal communication, I should highlight the learning paths feature, because it's kind of the most effective feature out there in 7TAPs. How it works, you see that I have already created some content around the subject of toxic positivity in the workplace. You can see how actually they look like. So it is a set of cards addressing the problem, some quiz inside. I can share them standalone. Can you see me? It's okay?
Yeah, we can see the presentation.
All right. So as you can see, we provide for various options when it comes to sharing your content. Again, so that to make sure you can reach out to your people wherever they are, whether it is a simple link you can include in an email or somewhere in your, I don't know, HR system or any messenger you're using. You can generate QR code. And if you have your smartphones somewhere nearby, you can actually right now scan this QR code and understand how the learning experience looks like. So you dive into content in a click on any device, and there are no apps, no logins, no signups needed. You actually start consuming the content right away. And that's really great because it removes all the possible barriers for your people when they get a message from you. Also, we have more traditional ways of sharing, like via email, or if you use Slack within your team, you can share content via Slack. Microsoft Teams integration is also available. If you think that it will be fast and easy for you to reach out people through SMS, then also is available. And we have various export options here at 7TAPs, like SCORM or VX API, or using an iframe so that you can simply copy iframe code and insert 7TAPs asset in any web page that supports for HTML. Getting back to the learning path functionality. As you can see, I have 3 courses on the subject. I simply go to the learning paths. I tested it before the recording so that make sure it works. So first of all, I click create a learning path. I'd love to send it out via email, let's say. Then I simply look for the courses that will be included in that learning path. Let's start with how to avoid toxic positivity. Then, as far as I remember, it was something about trust. So how to create a corporate culture of trust and acceptance. And the third asset will be on how to manage toxic positivity. All right, I hit continue. I can add users, and here you also have various options available. You can enter emails, phones, you can copy and paste them, but also we have integration with HR systems so that you can actually make that connection and send out to all the people within your organization, or you can create groups out of some departments or regions, or probably the level of you know, kind of some mid-level or some top executives. It depends on you. It's very easy to set up in 7 tabs. Here I'll come for the simplest version, like it's my email. I hit continue, and then I have this kind of a summary of my learning path. Again, it's called learning path simply because we are operating within the learning and development space mainly, but it can be kind of a communication path if you would love to refer it being an internal communicator expert. I can re-edit the name so that it will be easier for me then to see it in my dashboard. All right. I see that 3 content assets are included. I would love to send it only on weekdays so that not to disturb my people during weekends. I see that only 1 email will be getting this content, and I can either start now and have 10 minutes in advance, so just, you know, to probably come up with some last minute edits, or I can schedule a lunch and all other content will be delivered at the same time within the intervals you set. So now I can save it and start now, or save as a draft, and I'm happy to start it straight away. Now it's up and running. I can pause it anytime. I can check what's curriculum, and you can see here I actually skipped the step when I set an interval between the content delivered. I can actually increase it anytime. So let's kind of think of 1 week between the assets. I can save it, and you can see that any changes are applied straight away. I can see the users who will be getting that content. Currently, it's only me on path, but I can add new people on the go, and they will always start from the very beginning. For example, if new people are joining your team, or if you are straightforwardly creating some communication for new hires. So it's very flexible in terms of people who will be getting the content. And I can also see the activity log, at what time, on which day people will get that content, who exactly will get it, and what type of content exactly they will be getting. And this kind of functionality actually helps you to build campaigns, and not only to deliver information, but also you can include some quizzes, some examples. For example, if we deliver some information on, let's say, you have some changes coming within your organization, and you'd love to make sure that people are well prepared for it, so that with the very first asset, you actually set the ground for the future in use. Then you provide some general information on the background, why actually it's coming. Then you provide some examples of how it actually happens in the various organizations. And thus, step by step, you actually make people more interested and more prepared, rather than saying them, straight away, here we are. And afterwards, you can provide with, for example, some ideas on how this can work within your particular environment. Again, when we speak about, for example, corporate values, like you add something new, you don't just say like, from this moment, we are all very focused on team support, but you provide some examples of how it happens, what kind of behavior you should show and demonstrate, and what kind of situations can be out there, so that you can be more flexible to identify them and start performing the way your corporate policy kind of requires you to perform, and thus kind of enhancing that information over time. Eventually, you come up with better results and better effectiveness. I can be easily carried away while talking about 7 tabs, as you can see. Probably the last thing I should highlight, that with 7 tabs, you can also track the performance of your content, so that you can see who exactly opened it, how they interacted, what kind of a result with the quizzes is. You can gather all the answers from the polls and open-ended questions. So you always understand how people respond to you and gather that invaluable feedback. Probably this is the high time we address some scenarios, because it seems like I'm talking in a very high level terms, and it's not really clear what kind of scenarios you may address with 7 tabs, right?
I think it sounds really interesting, especially the learning path that you just shared to me, because I wasn't aware of that feature.
Really?
So that's definitely something to consider in terms of, when we are working with campaigns, for instance, and how can we then, design them properly. But in general, I just can see so many use cases. Also, when you talk about the analytics part, where you can you can identify knowledge gaps, for instance, or you could also identify, what people think of certain topics, and that could also be, translate into certain kinds of behaviors, what people would prefer to do. So it can become very insightful also in terms of when we think about reaching audiences that we normally don't reach. So in general, I think there are so many opportunities. But what do you think, Nadia, Mia, and Judith? Do you have any thoughts on use cases or other questions to Kate?
I don't know.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Thanks for the presentation, Kate. I would be actually very interested in some use cases. And I actually have one question. Would you recommend that people use 7 tabs on the smartphone, and as you showed on the with the QR code, or the desktop version, or is there no difference at all for you?
That's a great question. Thank you so much. And probably I will start from the final part of it. In fact, it depends on your particular organization and the way people are more willing to consume the content. And it should, first of all, start with some pilot projects and experimenting, because I see actually that it really depends on the environment you're working within. Some people really appreciate it more when it comes to their smartphones, and that's when our users create content specifically for delivering via SMS, or they send out those links within messengers, again, if that's appropriate. But also when you create content within 7 tabs, it is already designed either for desktop version or for your smartphone screens, and that's again the benefit of a platform, so that you do not have to customize the content and create 2 versions. And in fact, if you share, for example, 7 tabs asset via email or via Slack, and if your employee kind of is on their smartphone, they will quickly access it via smartphone, or either they can access it via desktop, and it's not a big deal for them. The content will look great on any device. When it comes to the use cases, there are some kind of a very high level kind of types of scenarios. In general, like the first things that come up to my mind are the industry updates, where when you actually keep your people aware of what's happening on, from compliance to some market intelligence. Then product updates come into play, and you deliver some updates not only for employees but also for partners, for your customers. It's also not a type of internal communications, but if we speak about communications in general, organizational updates of any kind, like new policies, restructuring processes, events, new hires or open positions, financial results, meeting recaps. Something that is very often overlooked, but is very important when it comes to implementing those ideas you actually discuss throughout that meeting. While I'm talking to our customers, and what I got from my experience when I used to work in the learning and development consulting company, I see that lots of companies actually have the problem of having a lot of information available. I mean, something about benefits like trainings or sport activities or entertainment activities, some competitions or relocation opportunities. And for an average employee, the only way to get that information is to go to HR department or any other department who actually operates in this field, and to really make an effort and look for some information. And with 7 tabs, there could be, for example, monthly updates on the most important aspects you'd love to make sure your people know. You don't have to go into much details. You can only kind of create kind of a summary, like here are the fresh opportunities or the hottest opportunities out there you might be interested in. And you just provide them with some choice so that they can dive into the sphere they are more interested in. I also mentioned that a use case when you can address diversity, equity, and inclusion content. And also I see the increase in addressing mental health awareness topics with 7 tabs, especially when it comes to organizations who deal with caregivers. And just if you really want to make sure of that your employees are on the same page around the well-being subject, you can actually provide them with some reminders of how you can sometimes stop and take that breath and probably to think something over and just evaluate what's happening in your life. It doesn't look like training. It's not. It's actually the way you try to support your people. And here also the way you create those messages comes into play, because you can there is a risk always to sound like a person who provides some training type of content, let's call it this way. But when it comes to internal communications, it's very, very important to provide some human style tone of voice. And it's easier said than done, of course, but it can be achievable. And with 7 tabs way of content design, we actually try to help you come up with it. Like you can use GIFs, as I said. 7 tabs cards allow you only for particular amount of content on the card. It's not designed for some scrolling type of interactions, so that you are always thinking about how to make it short, how to make it more straightforwardable. I recently ran a session on our Microlearning Conf on how to write better for microlearning, but it also can be equal to writing better for internal communications, how you can structure your message, what kind of techniques you may use for being more effective in delivering your ideas. Feel free to take a look. It's very, at least, inspiring to come up with some new ways of delivering your message out there.
Great. Nadia, did you want to ask a question?
It wasn't a question.
Okay.
No, it was just because you asked if there were any use cases seen, and I just wanted to comment that I work mostly in transformational settings where you give people a lot of information that they actually don't really want, or they're not necessarily fond of it, and I just think that this way of presenting it seems like a really good way to catch people's attention, make it nicer and easier and more like easy to digest. So it was just a comment on that I really see potential in it.
Thank you so much for sharing this. And I also want to comment that I personally see effective communication not just as the way of sending information, because no matter how simple and direct your language is, if you are not checking for comprehension, for mutual understanding, some misalignment is very highly likely to happen. And we at 7tabs believe that communication is not information, is rather information received, not information sent. So with the techniques like learning paths and the way the content is designed, the way we actually help you create that snackable type of content, we ensure that your communication will be well received by a learner. And also, when we speak about challenges within the internal communication field, I would also address the problem, probably not the problem, but the challenge when you have to make sure your content is inclusive, since you are addressing really wide audiences. And it's very important to make sure that you kind of are on the same page with everybody, because it does not make sense to kind of tailor your message to all the groups out there. Sometimes it makes, but we understand that in our fast-paced world and highly demanding business environments, it's not possible all the time. So I'm also sharing a link in the chat. It's a 30-minute session by the expert from UNICEF, who actually used 7tabs to create micro guidance on a global team. And she shared her ideas and advice on how to design for inclusion and how actually 7tabs helps you to create more inclusive content. So it's a very inspiring and practical resource you may find really helpful.
Great, and I think inclusivity is something that's really also, something that's really talked about and in focus right now in organizations. And I also talk about it in terms of internal communications and the way we design the communication infrastructure and so on, because a lot of organizations haven't really been, so good at that in including everybody in internal comms so far. And I think it was also something we touched upon when you were part of the open course I helped me, that we talked about. This would actually be 7tabs would be an opportunity to include everyone in the workplace. Mia has one question, and let me see where it is. It is there. How do we secure confidentiality? So will the content be shared with our employees only?
I've already shared the link in the chat with our security policy.
Okay.
Our main priority here at 7tabs to make sure your content is secure. First of all, it's only available to you as a content creator, and you decide with whom to share it. There are several options within 7 tabs. First of all, we have single sign-on option, for example, that only people from your organization can open what you shared with them. Also, you can set up password protection, or otherwise you can share via some emails and internal communication channels to make sure that content actually is delivered only to people from your team. So yeah, just cool. I guess you should read the security policy to understand how we handle all the potential issues.
Mm-hmm. And now we have a few minutes left. I still have 2 questions I would like to ask if anyone. So if anyone has any other question, please speak now. No, it doesn't seem like it. So the first question is, do you have any, cases right now from organizations where you can see that this is really something that took off, for them in terms of using it as a communications tool, or as a learning tool? And the second is, what does the future bring? If there's anything you are allowed to share about in which direction you are heading in terms of features and so on now, because we're also talking about generative AI gives us a lot of new opportunities, but there might also be a lot of things related to integrations and all this, you could go in different directions.
Sure. So first of all, when it comes to use cases, we have the webpage on our site. Cases, and you can dive into and see how various other ways of how companies actually benefit from the tool, because it really will take lots of time for me to keep on this topic. For example, something that comes to my mind immediately, like CHG Healthcare uses 7 tabs for communication campaigns when they spread company-wide announcements and updates. We have companies from the restaurant and hospitality industry who actually launch their new items in menus and want to the team members on what's coming next, and why it's here, and how you could present it to the customers. Again, it's very, very close to somewhere to the learning and development space, but if you kind of outline it as a communication campaign, then it's an internal communication process. Software development companies use 7 tabs for announcing some business transformation stuff, what's coming and why, as I already mentioned. You can announce some launch of internal competitions and update on what's going on, and who kind of engage people into supporting the participants. You can remind of some communication rules and how to operate effectively in the remote space. So yeah, the use cases are really diverse, and sometimes customers get very, very creative, and I see lots of examples of using 7 tabs for like scavenger hunt types of content. Again, learning paths is a great way to utilize this concept when you provide people with some insights, with some new challenges and games spread over time, and thus you keep people engaged and involved, and you can award them with some some HR benefits. Even you can turn your weekly newsletters and reminders into something more snackable with 7 tabs. The most common feedback is that from our clients is like, no one actually reads our emails. And once we actually replaced the email bodies with kind of a 7 tabs link telling, now it's the new way we will be delivering information, the engagement skyrocket, because people are more willing to kind of get some I don't like the word interactive type of content, but that's the content that is designed in a way that people are more willing to use these days and are more familiar with, because it actually reminds them of some social media interaction type of activities, and they don't even get any idea of now they're getting some boring corporate-based information. No, it comes very natural, and that's a huge benefit of 7 tabs. And when we speak, for example, addressing people within various regions using various languages, 7tabs again is a very powerful platform because it has no interface. And for a learner, it's only the content you create, and you can write in any language. Our text to video and text to audio features are also available in various languages, so you can always experiment. And actually, AI translation comes very, very soon, so that in a single click, you will be able to translate your content into various languages.
Nice.
In terms of the features that are coming, AI translation is the one that will happen soon. And in fact, within 7tabs, we don't jump on the AI bandwagon. We try to enhance our main product value, and which is to create content fast and to deliver it in a frictionless way. And all we add to 7tabs simply enforces and enhances these two ideas. That's why we have AI Builder that actually boosts your productivity. We also have a really great AI Transformer. I haven't featured it in my very, very quick product demo, but it works the way that you actually upload your presentation, PDF, or even YouTube video, or any other type of file, and you get a snackable recap in 7tabs. Again, it works brilliantly when, for example, you have some longer assets, and once you already delivered them and you want to make sure people remember what you delivered earlier, and you want to remind of that content. And just in seconds, you create that snackable recap. You can make a few edits, and you're all set to go.
Wow, I have to try that one. Interesting. So, Kate, thank you for such a good introduction to 7tabs. I am really motivated to go back and play around a bit more with it because I think it's. I mean, I heard about some use cases today that I haven't heard about earlier, and I also heard from some of my friends what they can use it for. For instance, one of my friends has been using it for creating a job application, which just to stand out from the crowd. And that worked quite well. And he also could see on the analytics part if they actually read the application, which is kind of helpful. But there's a lot of different opportunities that we have here. Also, it's only the imagination that's limiting us, I guess, to figure out. And so thanks a lot for joining, and thanks to Judith and Nadia and me for joining the session. I hope you found it useful as well. And and are ready to play with it a bit more. And I will be sharing the recording afterwards. And I think actually I might be playing a bit around with my AI tool that is able to convert an online video to a blog text. See how that goes.
Yeah.
based on our conversation here. It's also going to be interesting. So yeah, but I think that's all for now, basically. And I hope that you found it useful. And then I would say that we do some other sessions soon. Also looking into other next level tools, but also looking into some other interesting topics like intranets and AI in internal communications and so on. So
would you let me just to make very last comment for people who will be watching this as a recording? In 7tabs, we have live product chat. No robots there. Real people answering at the answer time. So feel free to drop us a line if you have any questions or you need some inspiration, or would you like, or if you'd like to, I don't know, set a demo whatsoever. We typically respond within a few minutes. Happy to help.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you.